It's weird because it will change the background. Maybe I can fix it and see. Is that bad? Like that?
No.
Let's see what it looks like. Hello? This is the full screen. Ah, you can see right there though. Dang it.
Dang.
It's fine. Hi, you guys. We're having technical difficulties. Oh, I did it. I did it. Oh my gosh, yes. Is that better?
Perfect.
Yay. Okay. Hi, guys. Denise, I was literally just looking at my shipment in this closet right here that's for you, that's next to other art that I'm sending you. I've been hanging on to it, and it's in my bedroom waiting for you. I shipped her a painting because she lives in Canada, and it came back. And I've been waiting to give it back to her.
Nice, yeah.
Hi, Life Out of Order. So, for those of you that are new here, this is my little brother Jakey. He did do an interview on my channel, and he also has a YouTube channel. I tagged him in here. I don't know if it tagged it correctly because it didn't bring up your YouTube, but I'm going to fix it if not, and I'm going to make sure that his links to his information is in the description box down below. If you haven't watched his video, I'll also link that down below as well. But today we're just going to be hanging out with Jake. He's done a live once on Patreon, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
So I'll also add my Patreon too if you're interested in joining that. We go live every Monday. Hi Todd. Hi Denise. Hi Kevin. Hi Hannah. First live ever. Nice. Hi Everett. So I wrote down a few things to talk about just because it's kind of hard to do a live with you because you're working so much. He has 2 jobs. It's been like I keep saying, oh, we're gonna do a live, but it's so hard because even your sleep schedule I feel like has been rough. Do you feel like you need to do just one job or?
Yeah, I think I might just switch to only doing one job right now because it's just way too much for me.
Yeah, I went through so many years of doing so I would have 2 jobs, a night job and a day job.
Mm-hmm.
I would sleep in my car on my lunch breaks, but you save a lot of money, but then you lose your sanity.
Yeah.
And then I would go to my wits end, and then I would quit both jobs.
Yeah.
I think it's a matter too and I'm still learning this now, trying to figure out what is healthy for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you learn by being like, okay, well that I didn't like that. And then trying something else. Is there one job you like more than the other one, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. I like jobs that are more hands-on, I would say.
Yeah.
And you're getting doing a whole bunch of different things rather than it just being you're sitting there the whole time, you know.
Yeah. Yep, I feel the same way. And there's, I don't know, I feel like there's different points in my life where I'm I wanted to be social with people to actually practice my social skills, and then there was other times where I was like, I don't want to have coworkers. Depending on my internal stuff that I was going through.
Yeah.
Thank you, Denise. She linked your channel.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and I'll also link it down below after this live. It's kind of a late live. I've been packing. I'm gonna go fly again. Been flying too much.
Any advice that Jake would give his past self?
That's a good question.
Yeah, good question. I would say don't be too hard on yourself, and just I would just say be calm.
Be calm and don't be hard on yourself. You
Yeah.
think when you were younger you beat yourself up a lot and you'd stress out?
Yes, definitely. I feel like it would pretty much be those 2 things, if for lack of better words, but it's just I stressed a lot for no reason. I feel like.
Yeah, I think it was mom and dad and the order and the whole how they function there is you need to be a people pleaser and a follower, and so you're stressing and carrying all these things that don't belong to you, right? You're carrying other people's stresses and other people's expectations, and it becomes so heavy. I think we talked about this in your interview, how when I left, it felt like a weight was lifted, a physical weight. Like I felt lighter. Like, oh my gosh, I'd never have to go to church if I don't want to. I never have to see any of the people that make me feel like crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a huge, definitely felt like a huge weight leaving, and then just every little thing that you realize, like, for me anyways, it's been like every little thing that I've experienced just shows me like a little bit more how much freedom I have, and like it's been great to see that.
Yeah. It's always hard though, because even as you're learning and growing and healing, there's still so much, like for me, I look back on when I thought that I was doing so well, and there was so much that I was still carrying, you know, and I was still like beating myself up, and I was still shaming myself, but I was doing better than I was before. But there's still times where even now where I catch myself getting back into like just talking negatively about myself, and I notice it also depends on like who I'm around, what I'm surrounding myself with. Am I also like allowing myself to be in circles where people are criticizing me and talking down to me? Because I think the whole reason why we were so critical of ourselves is because of our parents.
Yeah, exactly.
That became the inner dialogue, and it's important to change that to be what you want it to be, but it's also not easy.
Yeah.
It takes constantly being aware of how you're, not even just how you're talking to yourself, but what is the automatic thought when you make a mistake. Are you being like, oh, why are you so stupid? Like, what is that the automatic thought, and why, you know?
Yeah.
But it's so much energy. There's times where I'm like, I don't want to think about that right now because it's so much energy to think about.
Yeah, it really is.
But I did want to talk a little bit about how our relationship's been, because I feel like obviously when we were in the order and growing up, I felt like your parent. Like I had to parent you, and I felt way closer than I did when you got older and you left, because I didn't get to know who you were. I actually got kind of sad when, you wasn't on the live. Someone on the live was like, yeah, I was friends with Jakey in the order, and they had a lot of good things to say about you. And it made me kind of sad because they were saying things about your character and who you were as a person, and I was like, I don't even know those things about you, and it's because I wasn't really allowed to be in Jakey's live. So it's like you don't even see, well, you don't get to see what you don't get to see. So it's like you were like for 10, 11 years just living your own life over there, and I would kind of peek in every now and then when mom would let me. And then there were times where mom did be like, okay, you can come over, but I couldn't mentally be around her at that point because of everything that had happened.
Yeah.
So it was hard. And I also felt a lot of guilt for not going over there at those times where mom finally was like, oh, I'll let you come around this time, then that time. But I felt guilty for not going because I felt like it was ruining our relationship. But it was ruining me to be around mom at that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It was a huge, like, there's so much that went into even being able to see you guys one time, you know?
Yep.
Any of the siblings that left, it was like, dad didn't approve of it, mom didn't want, she wanted to see you guys, but she didn't want to deal with the stress.
Yeah.
So it was just like everything.
I feel like it was like a picking your battles type of thing, and I think a lot of moms do this in the order where they just want to keep the peace. But I don't think it's natural for mothers to just disown their kids. I think it's a lot harder for women in the order to disown their kid than it is for the man, because the man doesn't... I never felt a bond with dad.
Yeah.
I felt it with mom because I was actually there with her all the time. I watched her cry. I watched her, you know, raise all of these kids. And I never really had a bonding moment with dad. It was mostly like, yeah, that's pretty good for a girl. Like, everything was like a backhanded compliment. He didn't really care about my emotions. So it's hard to have a connection with someone like that. So when I left, it was pretty easy to be like, see, I wouldn't want to be ya. But with mom, that was a lot harder, and I think that she felt that too. And I think as a mom, when you have children physically, that's a natural bond maybe, and maybe not. I never had kids, I don't know. But so I can totally see how it was a lot harder for mom than it was for dad to just cut me off. But
Yeah, that makes sense. I definitely feel that with like it was a lot easier to say goodbye to dad than it was with mom. You know, like, but you know.
Yeah, did you... I guess we don't have to talk about all of the hard stuff because those are really traumatic.
Oh yeah.
But definitely it just reminds me a lot of my own stuff when I left. But I'm happy for you. Happy that we can rekindle our relationship.
Oh yeah, we were gonna say what our relationship is like today, and we're doing pretty good.
Pretty good. I think it's hard for me not to I hate even saying parenting because do you feel like I've been parenting you at all?
No, I feel like,
Because I try not to.
yeah, all you guys have been good mentors, except
Okay.
school has been parenting me.
Eskel, do you hear that? I think I don't know if it's because he's your brother, if that makes it different, or if it's because he's the youngest of us, and me, Cammie, and Rachel have already gone through what he's going through with you.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone through that with each other, and maybe he's, I don't know, experiencing it now. Yeah, that could be it, because me and Cammie and Rachel are the older ones, and Eskel now is taking in you,
Yeah.
and you are his younger. That's probably a part of what it is.
Yeah, well, the thing I noticed is it seems like you guys have experience. Like, you guys have done it before. Eskel, it seems like he's never tried it before.
Well, he's been the baby.
Yeah.
I actually never realized that until just now, as you're saying it, because I have been catching myself being like, nope, because it's out of love for you, but it's also like, I am going to tell you the things that I've learned, but a lot of the things you're going to have to just learn on your own, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you, hey, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, because I did it and then I, failed. And it's not going to make sense the same way.
Yeah.
And I've had Cammie did the same thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then she would be like, I wish I had a scenario to tell you, but there would be multiple times where she would say, hey, trying to protect me from something, and then I would be like, I don't get it, and then I would go make the same mistake, and then she'd be like, I told you! But it just made our relationship harder because it made me not want to tell her things, because she would get so emotionally attached to it. It's not because she's wanting to control, that's not in the forefront of her mind, it's more of not wanting to see me get hurt the way she was getting hurt.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I think that's something that he's going through with you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I do catch myself even being like, should I check in on Jakey? And then I was like, am I being like a helicopter parent right now? But it's really just a projection. Because I remember when I was your age, and when I was your age coming out of the order, I was not as self-aware as you. Mm-hmm. So I am projecting my insecurities from when I was your age and being like, oh no, he's going to do this and this because I did that and that. And then you'd actually make better decisions than I did. And I'm like, oh,
wow.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But also, I think in my mind too, I need to not think those thoughts because, oh no, what if you do make the same mistake, then you learn from them. Mm-hmm. That's the worst case scenario,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that all of us siblings the full siblings who have left, from what I've noticed at least, it's like we do pretty well with like figuring out the things we need to figure out with ourselves and like how do I say this? I guess healing.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say but we have to be given the right opportunity to, like I feel like that's the same for everybody because I couldn't grow until I was in a situation where I could, because like I still left the order, but I was still in a relationship that I didn't want to be a part of, and stuff like that. And
so you're saying you have to go through certain things. You have to be allowed to grow But well, yeah, it makes sense because mom and dad are over here like, nope, you can only grow over here, and they're putting a ceiling on you.
Yeah.
So you can't even experience any of this stuff because you're not allowed to. So you can't grow in these areas.
Yeah, it's kind of like the what's the mentality? The survivor mentality, where it's like you can't grow and learn anything new because you're trying to survive, keep your head above water.
If you're in survival mode.
Yeah.
And the order definitely keeps you in that survival mode. And that circles back to what you were just saying of caring too much about certain things, how you would tell your younger self that to just not stress about certain things. It's because they want to keep you in that survival mode.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think that they're consciously like, we're going to try to make sure everybody here is in survival mode. Mm-hmm. Maybe some people are like that. But I think that it's just like when everybody is in that toxic environment, how are you not going to also be so submersed in it, especially as a young kid developing your personality, right?
Yeah.
So you could have very well came out of the order with anxiety, depression, all of these things that you thought was just a part of your personality and who you were.
Mm-hmm.
But it really was a byproduct of all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, having that trust in yourself and for me too, like trusting that you're gonna make the decisions that you need to make at that time. And I think that the most vital thing is a support system, and just knowing that no matter what it is that you do, you can come back and fall back on us as siblings,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and feel like you can open up and talk about all that stuff. Because I think the hardest time for me in my life was, it's crazy how in the order we had, I wouldn't even call them support systems. We had people around us. We were surrounded by the most people I've ever been surrounded by in my life, like called family. But that was the time in my life I felt the most alone. Could never really be vulnerable with anyone, could never open up and share my scars because they would be weaponized.
Mm-hmm.
And
Interesting.
so I think the most valuable thing that we have out here is each other and being able to be that safe space for each other. And that's why I was saying, like, with our relationship, I think my biggest struggle is to trying my best not to, I keep saying parenting, but I really think it's like, every time I'm with you, I'm like, well, what would I have wished that someone would have told me at your age? And then I would remember the things that I was going through at my age, at your age, and then I project it onto you. I'm like, I hope that this is sticking. But I think that I need to just not, I don't know, not stress it so much, because time and time again I'm seeing you and I'm like, oh, he's got this, he's fine. He learned this before I did.
Well, yeah, I appreciate everything you guys tell me, and I feel like it does help, even if you're like, oh, I hope I'm telling him the right things and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But it definitely helps. It's been great to have like mentors and like people to be able to.
I feel like I'm just
have some advice at least.
Yeah, and I'm trying not to be like this. I have a piece of advice for you too, because it's also everything I'm saying is just like the genuine things that I went through, and the me like wanting you to be able to have the information that I had to fight so hard to get.
Yeah,
you know.
Exactly.
Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm. Sounds like this electric car.
Oh, okay. I was like, the end of the world. So Eskel's here. Do you want to repeat what you said about Eskel? Did you feel us talking about you, Eskel?
What brought you here?
What is it that you want? We were bringing up how our relationship is now versus in the order, and how I have a hard time trying not to like parent. And then I asked you, I was like, do you feel like any of us parent you? And he was like, what did you say?
I was like,
you can rewatch
no,
it.
But Eskel does.
His ears were ringing. Letting your kids and younger siblings grow up is one of the hardest things. Watching them fall is so painful, but watching them fly is beyond words. Exactly. And it's, I don't think I'll ever not get emotionally attached to your success and failures, because I'm always going to be emotionally attached to you because you're my sibling. But to be able to figure out a way where it does not, I'm going to try to close this so it's not so loud. To be able to not be so attached to where I'm worrying and getting anxiety over things that, and maybe it'll just come with time, like, and trusting that you're going to be okay, you know?
Yeah.
And that you can trust yourself, and you can handle it.
Well, I think it's partly that you see that you were kind of didn't make the best decisions, and you had a lot of regrets from this time of your life. So you're probably like, if you can help, then like it might as well help, you know.
Yeah. I hate saying
sense.
Regrets, because I don't know that I regret the things I've done, but maybe wish that I could have learned the lessons faster. Like, I'm happy that I was able to learn what I learned. Could I have learned it quicker? That would have been great. Yes. I think everyone feels that way, though.
I guess, yeah, that is what I mean. I don't feel like that is the same for me. Like, I don't feel like I have regrets. I just feel like when I learn something, like, it would be nice to learn it sooner, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I used to say too when I left, and a lot of people said this on Escaping Polygamy actually, when they were asked if they regretted anything, was I wish I would have left sooner. It's a lot of like, I wish I would have just learned the lesson faster, wish I would have, cause a lot of life, I guess, is just, sometimes I feel like I have to learn the same lesson over and over and over for it to stick.
Yeah.
So, what is Eskel saying? What are you saying now, Eskel? I just see Jake as a younger me, and I tell you all the things I wish I did at your age. That's exactly what I was telling him. And I was telling him, I try really hard to hold back sometimes because I'm like, I just feel like I'm being annoying. Like, am I being preachy? I'm not trying to be that. I'm just, I would rather tell you all of these things and like bond with you over it than hold back and wish that I would have told you.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like let's say later in life you were like, yeah, I felt alone in this and this and that with these certain feelings and thoughts, and I'm like, I could have been talking to you about that because I was going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Or I've gone through the same thing.
Yeah. My opinion on it is that I appreciate it. Like, I get that there's some people that will just be like, I don't want to listen to anybody, you know, I'm just going to do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I find value in that, for sure.
But that's also, like, even if I were to tell you all of these things that were really important to me and I was hoping that they would get through to you, even if you didn't listen to it or didn't soak it up and didn't take that advice, I wouldn't be mad, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think the only time I ever really get mad is when someone comes to me for advice and then I give it to them and then they're like, well, I'm actually not going to do that. But then it also, at the end of the day, it's like, it's not like we're promising and like making a blood oath that you're going to go do what I say. So at the end of the day, every person's going to know what's best for their own life. And even with everything I tell you, your life's different than mine. Your experiences are different. Even though we had the same parents, the same siblings, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what it's like to have me as a sibling, and you don't know what it's like to have you as a sibling. That's the only difference. Yeah, your life journey is going to be way different. The things that you want in life is going to be way different. We was literally talking about, like, would you ever want to have kids? Would you ever want to get married? You know, like, those kinds of things I think are going to be could be different for even kids in our family, right? Obviously, because we 2 siblings that are married with kids.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I was like, yep, 6 kids. I want 6 kids. And the longer I'm out, the older I get, the more I'm like, I don't know, man. And I'm so glad I didn't have kids when I was younger, because I was telling him the other day how toxic I was when I left the order. And I was going to ask you on here if you ever caught yourself in the order realizing that you were kind of acting like mom and dad and like scared that you were going to turn out like them.
Oh, yeah. I do remember definitely a time when I feel like it always comes out when you have to be older over somebody. But yeah, just like any time where I would have to be the oldest person there. Especially
like the older sibling?
Yeah, and it would only really happen when it was just like me and then the younger kids at home. And then I was barely even like 10, I think, only. And I just like, all I knew to get the kids to do what I told them to was just to like yell or else like hit them or something, you know?
Yeah.
And so we had to get the jobs like, or the chores get done or whatever, and so then I was just like getting all mad at the younger kids, and then I hit one of our younger siblings, and then as soon as I hit her, then I was like, oh crap, like I just like felt like terrible, and I like, it was weird, like it was like a sobering moment, and I was like, oh crap, like I noticed what I was doing, and I was like, felt terrible, and like ever since that day I just like questioned like why our parents even did the things that they did, you know.
I told this story on a live stream before, but it was the same thing. Sadly, probably the same sister, which is so sad. But I was 15, driving illegally without a license because my parents told me to, and you're just taught as the one over the kids that they're supposed to obey you, right? The law of one above another, and there's also that stress when the house needs to be clean, so you're responsible, and if it's not clean, it's on you, right? So then you have all that stress. But so when I was 15, I was driving around, taking the kids. Well, one kid, I don't know why. I think, because she was having extra schooling because mom didn't want to have to watch her. She was in that weird age where it had to be preschool, but it was only 4 hours, so she would make her stay for the day and the later. So she was there for 8 hours. So she was always really tired, and she was crying every single day. She would cry on the way home from school, and it was a 30-minute drive because it was all the way in West Jordan. Remember when we lived over there? So this one time she was screaming in the back of the car, crying, and I was like losing it. 15, driving, trying to focus. So I was like, if you don't stop crying, I'm going to pull the car over. I'm going to smack you.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't remember being that way past like 11, 12. But I don't have a lot of memories from before that. But I don't remember being that way. But that's why this one moment is always in the back of my brain. I was 15 and I was losing my marbles because she was screaming. I threatened her, said I'm going to pull over the car and I'm going to come smack you if you don't stop crying. She kept screaming. And so then I pulled the car over and I went to open her door. And when I opened her door, just seeing how scared she was of me, she went like this and she was afraid of me. I didn't hit her. Seeing her like that made me so sad that I made her fear me in that way.
Yeah.
And I went back into the front seat and I started crying. I didn't eat, and I'm glad I didn't hit her, but I feel like I would have just felt way worse, right? But it's that environment that you're in and you're taught to be that way. And this is what bothers me is I was 15 realizing that. How come mom and dad don't have that?
Yeah, exactly.
How come the light doesn't come on? Do you think it does sometimes and they feel bad but they don't know what to do about that?
That's what's always interested me because, you see the movies where people have that one sobering realization moment where it's like, oh, they realize what they've been doing, you know. And what's weird is I feel like most of the people that I know and grew up with, we can all see our own actions and we can hold ourselves accountable for what we're doing. But there's also a lot of people that you'll see that they will just literally never look inward and never look at their own actions and doings, which is just doesn't really make any sense to me.
Yeah. And maybe there are those moments where oh, I went a little too far that time, and oh, maybe I need to, rethink things. But I think there's times where, that's why the order dynamic will genuinely never be healthy, because all these women being pressured to have so many kids, if I had 10 kids like mom too, I would be losing my mind. On top of that, my husband's having kids with his sister and my sister, right? Let's say I'm in mom's shoes. That would be enough to make me go mad.
Yeah.
And I would probably go off my rocker a lot and not think twice. And I think that's why the order teaches abuse on the kids, because they don't think that it makes sense to communicate to the kids. Well, one, they don't even know how to communicate empathy and all those things. So that's out of question. But they're just as quick as possible, get these people to listen. Get these kids to listen because we have so many of them. So it's military style, right? Just listen to me. Give me your undevoted respect. But I saw this podcast where it was Raven Simone from That's So Raven. She was like, oh, the light went out. I'm going to say this last thing and then we're going to be done. The light has an issue with the plug, but I'm going to say this last thing because I have to go anyways. But Raven Simone said that she's like, my parents always said that fear is respect, but I don't think that I ever respected my parents. I think I was just afraid of them. And that's so true. They're two different things. But anyway, did you want to answer anything else before we go?
No, but a little bit actually, yes. Okay. I'm so sorry.
I'm going to see if I can fix the light.
Okay.
I'm not a technician. They can still hear you if you want to say it, because I think it's not going to work. I could put the harsh lighting on, but I don't like this harsh lighting.
Yeah.
Do you want me to or no?
Oh, well, yeah, flip it on. See what it looks like.
You're like, oh no, turn it back off.
Let's see. Oh, it's not bad.
Really?
Yeah, we could just finish it this way.
Okay. Yeah, I'm basically done, but you answer what you want, and maybe I'll answer some questions, and then we can, because I gotta go.
Yeah, I just find that topic just really interesting. Just just the fact that people will not ever second guess their actions, and it's kind of almost a human thing or a natural thing.
To not second guess or to second guess?
Well, it's interesting. That's the thing. It's like it seems like it's a natural thing to just live the same way your whole life, even if it's so terribly unhealthy, you know.
To repeat the cycles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, how much of it is natural, animalistic, or, you know, because if you think about, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but for me personally, as soon as I started to have more empathy towards myself, forgive myself more, I think that I've found deeper meaning in all of my relationships too, and like I just have a fuller life and that's just me personally. But I do think there are people out there that see no value in that. They don't care. Narcissists, right? And there's also people that are like, well, narcissists are all on top, so why not everyone just be like a narcissist and just everyone fend for themselves? But which part is the natural and which one's the animal, whatever you want to call it, biological? Because this is what's weird. If it's natural to be that way and we're all born that way, then how come humanity's not that way now? You know? Humanity has figured out a way to progress and be better than the centuries before.
Yeah, very interesting.
I think you would love a psychology class. I'm trying to get him. I'm like, would you go to a psychology class with me? But
I probably would. But yeah, that sounds
anyways.
good though. It was really fun talking.
Talking to all you guys.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Bye, Casey. Bye, Cree. Bye, Crystal. Bye, Todd. Bye, Patty. Okay. Love you guys. Bye. Bye,
Have a good one,
Esco.
guys. Bye, guys.